Hello children, good morning. Your Tulsi ma'am wishing you safe and long life. Stay home, stay safe. Need of the our children, we should know ourselves better. That's why today I am teaching you a lesson from civics. You could see that chapter 2, salient features of the Constitution, part 1, topic fundamental rights. Introduction. After the inclusion of the Bill of Rights in UN Charter, it has become obligatory for all the member states of the United Nations to ensure the basic rights to their respective citizens. Means here, India is the founding member of UNO. So it has adopted the fundamental rights in our constitution. The fundamental rights are incorporated in part 3 of our Indian constitution. Next, we proceed to the meaning of the term fundamental rights. The fundamental rights are basic human rights. You could say that they are the freedom or the liberty which provide the conditions essential for the all-round development of a human being. That means all we need the fundamental rights to lead our life. Next, we proceed to the significance or the importance of the fundamental rights. The fundamental rights protect people against unjust discrimination among the members of the community. Unjust discrimination means various differences among the people. Then they do not make distinction between human beings based on race, color, gender, religion or other such consideration. Means here it tries to bring the equality in the society. Thirdly, they give recognition to the dignity and equality of all human beings. Means here the fundamental rights help us to lead a respectful or the dignified life in the society. Next, we move to the classification of the fundamental rights. You could see that classification of fundamental rights. We have basically the 7 fundamental rights. The first one you could see that right to equality, Article 14 to 18. Second, right to freedom, Article 19 to 23. Then the third one, right against exploitation, that is Article 23 and 24. Then right to freedom of religion, that is Article 25, 26, 27 and 28. Then the cultural and the educational right, that is the Article 29 and 30. 31 is missing, you could see that. That is the right to property. Now that is withdrawn from this fundamental list and it has become a legal list according to the 44th Amendment Act of Indian Constitution 1978. Now the 6th one, right to constitutional remedies, that is the Article 32. Then the 7th one, right to education, that is under the Article 20A recently included. Now you could see some pictures related to this fundamental rights. Here the first picture showing you the right to equality, the balance. The second one you could see that is the freedom of speech. Then the next, the third one you could see that is the right against exploitation. Then the fourth one you could see that right to freedom of religion. Then the fifth one, that is you could see a Punjabi man dancing there. That is the cultural and the educational rights. Then the sixth one you could see that a judge sitting. This is the constitutional remedies. And the seventh one you could see that a teacher teaching in a classroom. That is that right to education. That is Article 21A. Come on, let us now move to that description of these fundamental rights. You could see your children, the display is your, the right to, that means the detailed description of fundamental rights. Right to equality, that is Article 14 to 18. What is that Article 14 says? What is that Article 14 says? That is equality before law and the equal protection of law. That means here all are protected. That means here all are equal irrespective of economic status, caste, color, creed, religion or gender. Then the Article 15 that prohibits the discrimination. Discrimination based on what you say, that economic status, caste, color, creed, race or anything else. And this particular article, that is Article 15, it ensures the social and economic equality. Then the Article 16, that is the equality of opportunity in respect of employment. That means here all the citizens are given the opportunity in matters relating to the employment in a central government or the state government. Then here this you could see in the reservation policy also. Then comes your Article 17, that is of abolition of untouchability. This is particularly against the caste system in our country. You know that the caste system is the big bane in our country since the ages. In order to eradicate that casteism, that is why the abolition of untouchability has passed, and the person who is practicing the untouchability can be punished by the law. Now, practicing of untouchability is an offense. Next, the abolition of titles, that is Article 18. Abolition of the titles means long before they used to confirm this Rai Sahib, Khan Bahadur, Maharaja or something else, and all these things are now prohibited, or you say that abolished, because to bring the social equality among the people. Got it, children? That is about the right to equality. Now we will move to that. The next fundamental right to freedom, that is from Article 19 to 22. First of all, you could see that Article 19. Article 19 has got cluster of rights. What are those? They are the freedom of speech and expression, freedom to assemble peacefully without arms, freedom to form association and unions, freedom to move freely throughout the India, freedom to reside and settle in any part of India, freedom to practice any profession, trade or the business. But all these, the freedom or you say the liberties have some restrictions. And this Article 19 has 3 limitations. Limitation 1, emergency. That means Article 19 can be suspended during emergency. Then the limitation 2, not absolute. Article 19 is not absolute because certain restrictions can be imposed when it is required for the security of the state or the national interest. Then thirdly, your laws of the parliament. That means the legislations like Preventive Detention, Essential Service Maintenance Act, that is popularly known as ESMA. This law is to ensure the delivery of essential services like public transport, health services, etc., which if obstructed would affect the normal life of the people. So during that time, that means the restrictions are imposed on right to freedom. Next is Article 20. What is that Article 20 says? Article 20 says the protection in respect of conviction for offences. According to that, what are the protections is given to the citizens? Number 1 is here, against greater penalty than what is prescribed under the law is prohibited. That means the law should not cross its limit. Then the second, no one can be punished or prosecuted for the same offence twice. Then the thirdly, a person cannot be compelled to be a witness in case where he himself is accused of an offence. This popularly we say that approver. So this means the system should not try to manipulate the people. Then next is Article 21, protection of life and liberty. You know, this one, according to the Constitution, each one of us have to live our life and we have some personal freedom that should be protected. And also, it should not be against with any law. Next is the Article 22, that is the protection against arrest and detention. So this Article 22 gives such rights to the citizens under the 2 different circumstances. Under the ordinary circumstances, first of all, in the case of arrest, under ordinary circumstances, the arrested person has the following right. What are those? He should be informed. That means informed about the offence for what he is or he or she has arrested, and to be presented before a magistrate within the 24 hours from the time of arrest. Then thirdly, the right to consult a lawyer or prepare the defence of that trial. Then under the preventive detention, what is meant by preventive detention? Preventive detention means arrest a person or you say that detain a person without any trial or warrant. Under these circumstances, what are the rights that a person possesses? First of all, your preventive detention does not mean that a person stand accused. It is only a precautionary measure. Secondly, your detention behind 3 months can be extended only by an advisory board constituted for the purpose and consisting of a judge of the High Court. Means here, without any legal advice or the instruction, the person cannot be retained for more than 3 months. Thirdly, here, grounds of detention have been specified and the detains informed of these grounds. That means a person should be informed on what grounds he or she arrested. Okay, children. So today I have taught you that the explanation of the fundamental rights. Now let me conclude and give you the assignment related to this. These are the questions you are going to answer. So you can see that this is the assignment, children. After listening to the video, you can answer these questions. These are the questions for your assignment. Question number 1, explain the fundamental rights. Question number 2, state the significance of the fundamental rights. What the 3 points what I explained you. Third one, mention or list the different fundamental rights guaranteed to the citizens of India. Then thirdly, name the fundamental rights. That means how many fundamental rights that we have. Third one. Then the fourth one, you know that name the fundamental right that was deleted from the 44th Amendment. Then the fifth one, you have to explain the main provisions are the features of right to equality and right to freedom. Okay, have a nice day. Thank you. Children, in the previous video we completed right to equality and right to freedom. Now we'll move to the third fundamental right, right against exploitation. You could see that Article 23 and 24. Let us know that what Article 23 says. Article 23 has 2 provisions. First one, freedom from slavery, beggary or any other forms of forced labor. Secondly, here, trafficking in human beings means buying and selling of human beings is prohibited. It also prohibits use of women and girls for immoral purposes. Then the Article 24. Article 24, you could see that it is against the child labor. Prohibition of employment of children under the age of 14 in factories, mines or etc. The practice of bonded labor has also been declared unlawful. Next we move to the right to freedom of religion. That is Article 25, 26, 27 and 28. This particular right denotes our secular feeling of our country. You know that India is a land of diversity. So in order to respect each and every religion, this right is introduced. Let us know that what Article 25 says. Article 25 says it's about all persons are entitled to freedom of conscience and the right to freedom of process, practice and propagate the religion. And secondly here, that means here, every person has his own choice to follow any religion. Then Article 26, freedom to manage religious affairs. That means here to establish and maintain institutions for religious and charitable purpose, to manage its own affairs in matters of religion, to own and acquire movable and immovable property, and to administer such property in accordance with law. Then Article 27, freedom from payment of taxes for promoting particular religion. That means no person shall be compelled to pay the tax for the promotion of any particular religion. Then the Article 28. What that Article 28 says here? Article 28 says that freedom from attendance at religious instructions in certain educational institutions. You know that even though religious instructions may be imparted in educational institutions recognized or receiving funds from the state, no person attending such institution shall be compelled to receive such religious instructions without the consent of himself or herself. That means if the minors are there, their guardians or the parents must give the permission for this. Next we move to the cultural and educational rights. Article 29 and 30. Let us know that what Article 29 says. Article 29 says about a section of the people or whole of them the right to preserve their distinctive language, script and culture. In the matter of admission to any educational institutions maintained by the state, admission cannot be denied on the grounds of religion, color, caste, creed or gender. Then the Minorities and educational institutions. That means the Article 30 gives all minorities to establish and administer the educational institutions of their choice. The state is also prohibited from discriminating against educational institutions in the matter of grants. Next, Article 31, as I already informed you, it's about the right to property. It is already deleted from the list of fundamental rights by the 44th Amendment Act of 1978. Since then, it has become the constitutional, it has become a legal right, not the constitutional, I beg your pardon. Next, we move to that Article 32, the sixth one, right to constitutional remedies. Article 32. Article 32, right to constitutional remedies. This Article 32 was called the very soul of Constitution and the very heart of it. That means the heart and soul of our Indian Constitution. It is not said by some ordinary person. It was told by Dr. V.R. Ambedkar himself, who was the architect of our Indian Constitution. Let us know that what is it Article 32, or you say the constitutional remedies is so important among the fundamental rights. This right is given to the citizens to move to the Supreme Court for the enforcement of their fundamental rights conferred on them. Dr. Ambedkar described this article as the heart and soul of the Constitution. In essence, it is not a right but a remedy. Without this right, the other rights would have been a meaningless. Now let us move to the last one, right to education. In a short form, we say that RTE. When was this RTE introduced and why was it introduced? So the Constitution, according to the 86th Amendment 2002, inserted Article 21A in the Constitution of India to provide free and compulsory education of children in the age group of 6 to 14 years as a fundamental right. The right of children to free and compulsory education, shortly we call it as RTE Act 2009, which represent the consequential legislation envisaged under Article 21A, means that every child has a right to full-time elementary education of satisfactory and equitable quality in a formal school which satisfies certain essential norms and the standards. So let us come to the conclusion, children. We have completed all the 7 rights, and today again I am going to give you the assignment. Look at this questions, children. Once again, this is your today's assignment. The questions what I have given. Question number 1, name the fundamental right that prohibits forced labor and employment of children below 14, or you say that prohibition of child labor. Secondly, here what do you understand by the right to freedom of religion? You have to explain all the points. Then name the fundamental right which protects the minorities in India. Then fourth question, what is the meaning of right to constitutional remedies? Dr. Ambedkar himself called it as a heart and soul of our Indian Constitution. Then the fifth one, when was the right to education introduced and why? Okay children, have a nice day. Thank you.